I'm Mark.
And I'm Jerry. And we are the Military Collectibles Shop. So, I've been promising this for a while. So this is our Military Shop question and answer segment. I don't have a fun name. Mail call?
Uh-oh.
Mail call. I don't know. We'll work on that. But these are questions that were sent in by you, our friends and viewers. So we thought we'd take a little bit and answer some of the questions that came rolling in, because some of them are pretty good. Let's start with the first one. C-Mac asks, and I think he's British because he spelled favorite with a U. So I'll try to speak in a British accent. What is your favorite? I can't even do it. Let's try that again. What is your favorite item and or the rarest item? Am I Irish? Governor? Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
Sorry, can't do it at all.
I'm going to do it in a Midwestern accent. What is your favorite item and or the rarest item in both of your collections?
Well, I think my favorite item is I have a Fallschirmjäger jump smock, helmet, bandolier, parachute. You know, that set is like my favorite. Like a rare piece that I really like is I have an honor goblet that's actually made out of silver, not the alpaca one, and it's named to a Stuka pilot. The Stuka pilot was killed during the war, as many were.
Yeah, not an easy job. Oh yeah, those are both really cool pieces. I struggled a little bit with this question, because I collect far too many things. I think my favorite piece, like I always use the on fire test. You know, if the house is on fire and you can only grab 10 things, what are you grabbing? And the one that I think is my favorite piece is I've got a Hitler Youth knife that my sister gave me for Christmas one year, and that actually got me started collecting German items in earnest. I had collected since I was 9, and I think I was probably 16, 17 when she gave me the youth knife. My whole family were antique dealers, and so Christmases at our house were never filled with new stuff. It was always stuff people picked up along the way. But this, I hadn't known the Germans had daggers before, so that it really struck a chord with me, and it got me into researching. You know, I went to the library, found the dagger books, and started down that path in earnest. So I guess that would be my favorite piece. Rarest piece? Boy, that's a really good question. I was gonna say, you know, I've got a U.S. paratrooper helmet, an M2, but I actually have 2 of those now, so I don't know if that qualifies as rare anymore. And I just picked up a double decal Allgemeine SS helmet, black one. So those are pretty rare. I've also got a Normandy D-Day worn jump jacket and pants. That's pretty rare. We've got some nice metal groupings. I almost need to revisit this question based on categories. Because I do have some, like in my women's collection, I've got a great flight nurse outfit grouping. I've got a women's Marine Corps group where she was the first Marine woman. She worked at a post office. She was the first Marine to be allowed to carry a .45.
Wow, Jerry, you're making me embarrassed about my collection.
No, your stuff is great. I love your stuff. Okay, we'll move on. I'll keep pondering. And Mark's got some really nice stuff too. Okay, Jesse asks, are these wear passes real? And This is a good question because I've seen this a lot, and I've been had this question even from what I consider some experienced dealers. There's a new batch of fake wear passes coming in from, I would think, Eastern Europe. And some of the characteristics of these are they're kind of over the top. If you're familiar with what a normal German wear pass or sold book looks like, you know, it's got the soldier's photo, their information, their unit, their awards, different things, what they were issued. You know, it's kind of a utilitarian thing. These sold books and wear passes that are coming out are actually really over the top, because it'll be, the front cover will be emblazoned, you know, U-boat or Afrika Korps or you know, SS Gebirgsjäger, and it's like, okay, no, they're not going to put the unit information on the cover, because hey, one, German changed units. Ach, Heinz, I have to change my cover now. I'm in a different unit. Ach, so that's a tell. But I mean, these are worn. They're very you know, nice looking. You know, they've got all the bells and whistles, but they're fake fantasy pieces. So stay away from those. You know, try to think back. You know, why would the Germans have something like this? You really have to approach any German pieces with a very critical eye, because the fakers have gotten so prolific and so good.
And so I imagine there are awards that, you know, in the back of the book that they were awarded were like kind of over the top.
You know, honestly, I've never looked into them. I've only seen the covers. I haven't handled one of these in person. People have just sent me photos, asking. And don't ever be afraid to send us photos of things that you're questioning if you find on somebody else's website. Although why you're not just looking at our website, I don't know. But if you happen to accidentally find yourself on somebody else's website and you're questioning a piece or something, or you see something at a flea market or in an antique store, take a picture, send it to us. We're more than happy to give you our opinion. You know, we're not always right, but you know, but we can at least tell you what we think. We all know what opinions are like.
All right, the next question is, what is something you sold for the better of the store, but you really was really tough to let go? And I know my buddy here parted with some really good stuff to keep the store going. He had a police general's Totenkopf ring that he sold. You know, so when we moved to this new location, we needed a lot of money, and he sold that out of his collection. And there was one, it was an SS Allgemeinen officer's tunic and hat that
An overcoat
that we sold because we needed the money. But it was like, and it was named to a guy, and you know, we researched him, and he was kind of an asshole, I guess is what, you know. And he'd been arrested by the Gestapo or the police for, you know, like stealing funds from the SS
the organization. Yeah. But he did write some books. It was a neat, you know, black uniform, all the bells and whistles, cuff title, overcoat, officer's visor hat, everything matched, everything was beautiful. But yeah, we needed, unfortunately, you know, to a certain extent, some of this stuff is money in the bank, and you know, you can get good money for good stuff. So what we had to. One of the other things that Mark recently reminded me that I had to sell, I had pushed it into the dark recesses of my own mind. But I had a German Garde du Corps helmet, and with the big eagle on it, the World War I Imperial German, you know, essentially Kaiser's Life Guard. They had the big eagle on the helmet, and I also had with it a cuirass, a metal cuirass, with an iron cross that had been soldered to it. So it was a really nice display grouping. It was very cool. But sometimes those things just come up, and again, it was a good piece. It didn't really fit in with the rest of my collection, you know, as much as I would like to, and I loved having it here, and it was really a showstopper, and I was very sad to see it go. So yeah, sometimes stuff comes up, you know, that we've had to just move down the road. We can't keep everything, and keep the lights on. There's an idea. So let's just work in the dark. We can keep more stuff.
Okay, the next question is, do you guys do trades? And I'd like to say, many years ago, a friend of ours told us about trading in the military business. And it's not just like value, it's like interest. You know, so it's like, I have this $600 German helmet. Would you take $600 worth of $3 patches for it? Well, we'll never get our money back out of those, because, you know, some of those patches will never sell. But, you know, if you got like, well, I have this dagger here that I'm willing to trade for the helmet, or vice versa, or something like that, you know, we're willing to trade. But, you know, it's got to be kind of like interest, something that's cool for something that's cool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's got to make sense for us. You know, and we do actually do a lot of trades. There's a lot of guys all over the country that we work with, you know, which are great. You know, if we don't have something in stock, and it's something, you know, that we're looking for, yeah, we'll jump on something, because we might have, you know, at any given point, I mean, you know, we might have 6 or 10 helmets in, but we might be low on daggers, or we might have a bunch of daggers and might be low on helmets. So if we can kind of balance that out, that, you know, or if it's something of interest to either Mark or myself for our own collections, because don't forget, we're collectors too. I mean, we're mainly collectors. We just do this stuff so we can afford to collect what we do.
Feed our addiction.
Pretty much, yeah. We're our own codependents. So, but yeah, so we will do trades, but it has to make sense for us. So don't feel bad if you offer us something and we decline the trade. It just has to make sense for us. You know, but we love hearing about it. So if you've got something you're thinking about doesn't really fit in with your collection, or you're changing gears, a lot of times collectors switch what they're collecting. We just had a rash of people. These were reenactors, but they were getting out of German and going into Civil War. You know, and we see that a lot. Just, oh, I'm going into U.S., or I want to expand into this, or whatever. So, you know, let us know what you have. You know, the worst we can say is no. Actually, the worst we can say is no, get the hell out of our store.
I was just going to say, but we're not going to yell at you. Well,
sometimes we do. Okay, Tyler asks, why on some Hitler Youth items do you see a single lightning bolt, the S rune, and why do you see the swastika and a diamond on others, and what is that meaning? Very good question. The reason is, it's actually two separate organizations. The single rune, the Sig rune, or the victory rune, is used by the Deutsche Jungfolk, or the DJs. Those were the younger, almost like the Cub Scouts of the Hitler Youth. So anytime you see that on like a belt buckle, or on a sleeve thing, or on the flag trumpet banners, you know, those are DJ, or Deutsche Jungfolk. The HJ, the Hitler Jugend, tend to wear the swastika in the diamond, and that's what you'll see, that emblem as their membership badge. You'll see it on the dagger. You'll see the diamond on their armband, and in those kind of things. So those are two separate organizations. If you're interested in HJ or DJ stuff, there's actually a couple really good books on the organizations, which I will superimpose here. Okay, but a very good question. The organizational thing about the Germans is really fascinating, and it's really a complex subject. So not a lot of people actually understand it. Even a lot of people who are deeply into the hobby don't quite understand the whole organizational structure, and it changed over time. So that's the other thing kind of weird about the German stuff.
Okay, Tom asked a few good questions. What was your best barn find?
Bah.
I'm kind of drawing a blank there because you did have that cool German helmet that came out of a barn.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple helmets. Boy, I'm trying to think. Suppose I should have studied for this test. What's the next question? I'll ponder on that.
What's the best thing that walked into the shop? My wife.
Aww.
No, what's Sherry gonna say if you don't say the same thing?
Yeah. Okay, my wife. Actually, without our wives, we would be just two guys with a bunch of crap in the house, so are probably burnt in the front lawn. So we really appreciate them.
Actually, I would think of lately your Algemeen and SS helmet.
Yeah, that was one. The guy had actually emailed me on and sent me a couple pictures, and I thought, yeah, okay, here we go. And then when it walked in, I immediately had that pucker factor, where it was like, oh my God, this is real. And I've had that happen a couple times. There was one time when a guy brought in one of my favorite U.S. helmets. It's a World War II fixed bale with a Holly liner and a net, and it's got medic crosses painted on it, and it's got a bullet hole through it. I was literally shaking as I took it out of the bag because this was the coolest helmet I had ever seen in my life. But I mean, we're very fortunate that we do get a lot of really nice stuff that comes in to the shop.
I remember one time a guy brings in, you buy helmets. He's got a couple of helmets. He's got a British helmet, but it's in like a tan color. And it was like, oh, that looks cool. And then he pulls out a Luftwaffe helmet in the same, the Africa color. Kind of like what is it, like a pinkish yellow?
Yeah, kind of a pinky tan.
And it was like, wow. And I think we also got one of those Fairbanks fighting knives from the same guy. And I think they said that he was from Canada and was fighting with the British Army during World War II, the father or grandfather. But it was like, just pulling that stuff out was like, wow, is there anything else in that box?
Yeah, I mean, some of the boxes that we've gotten in have been literal time capsules where, the vet put it away in 46, the kids weren't allowed to play with it, and now, so many years later, they're cracking it open and opening it up for the first time.
Oh, this is Grandpa's live hand grenade.
Well, yeah, we won't go there. All right, what's the coolest thing we learned out of the blue about history or the hobby? And this is a really good question. Again, we've been fortunate not only with the stuff that's come in, but with the people that have come in that we've been able to talk to and meet and actually become friends with. Unfortunately, a lot of the World War II veterans that we knew have now since passed. But we were fortunate to know Bruno Rozanka, who served on the Bismarck. Was also sunk on the Karlsruhe, and there was a Luftwaffe pilot that lived here in Milwaukee that had 93 confirmed kills, and I was able to talk to him about the different types of radar and things that the Germans had that I still haven't found in books. Talking to the World War II Army Air Force veterans about what they did and what their daily life was like, and different things like that. Even now with some of the modern soldiers, I mean, we've got some friends who are special forces guys, and some of the stuff that they did and places they've been and things that aren't really in the history books. You know,
Yeah.
so that's been, I think, one of the most valuable things that you know, we've been able to learn. What about you?
You know, thinking about the coolest people, there was this gentleman that came in and sold us his shirt, and he said that he was a sergeant during World War II, and during the Battle of the Bulge, he was in charge of a machine gun squad, and they ran out of bullets, so they surrendered. And when they were being processed, he noticed that the Germans were like stealing everybody's watch. So he kind of tore the waistband of his pants in the back and he stuffed his watch in there. And when he came into our shop, he was still wearing the watch. He said he had it cleaned 3 times, but it kept perfect time. And a few years later, his son came into the shop with some stuff to sell. And it says, "Oh, I remember your dad." And it was like, he was thinking, how can you remember my dad that you met 5 years ago or 3 years ago, that you met for 15 minutes? And it was like, I talked to him about his dad for a while, and he was like blown away. And he said, yeah, he didn't really talk about that stuff. One of the things he told me was they were issued 1 spoon by the Germans, and they said, you lose your spoon, you don't eat. And of course he still had that spoon.
Yeah, so again, these are the kind of things, these stories that aren't in history books, you know, so it's really great and one of the most valuable things, one of the most unexpected things about having the shop that I think we encountered. All right, a couple of different people asked, what was something that got away?
Well, we had that collection with 2 anti-partisan badges that got away from us.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was not, it didn't really come into the shop. You know, it was somebody had them and was like shopping them around, so we made an offer on them. I mean, there was a huge collection that we only, you know, it was...
It was so funny. They inherited a collection from a relative, and the wife contacted us. And she said, we have 47 bins of military stuff. And she was out in, I think they were in Maine or somewhere out east. Delaware. Yeah, Delaware's out east.
Yeah, that's it.
And the wife contacted us and they said, we got 47 bins of stuff. Are you interested? And I'm like, yeah, we're interested. Can you send me some pictures? And she's like, well, it's all in bins. I don't really want to take pictures. I'm like, oh, okay. And unfortunately, we're not financially stable enough to just hop on a plane to maybe go see, 47 bins worth of boots, or army camo thing. You never know what you're going to get. So I finally convinced her to send some. I said, look, just open up a couple bins, take a picture. That'll, get us to, at least know if we need to come out there. Okay. So she did that. Oh my God, yeah. A whole bunch of American stuff, whole bunch of German stuff, Riker mounts full of badges. The guy was either a collector or a dealer, but he had all kinds of German badges. So now it's like, okay, yeah, when can we get out there? I'm trying to book a flight. She's like, well, we got a wedding this weekend, and Tuesday's not good, and blah blah blah. Finally, about a month of this goes by, and she kind of drops off contact with us. And I'm like, hey, we're still interested, let me, I even talked to some of my friends who live out there. And I said, hey, could you go out there and just see what's going on? Take a picture of what, what the stuff is. Well, it turns out that the husband had been also dealing with somebody else. Long story short, by this time, the Mac show came around. The husband went to the Mac show, talked to one of the bigger dealers there that we all know and love. Yeah, he ended up getting everything. So that was a big...
Yeah, I mean, because even when they sent us pictures, they only sent us pictures of some of the bins. We didn't even, it was like... Yeah, that was kind of a burn.
But, the other thing, one of the pieces that still irks me, back when we had our old shop, and for one of the rare times that we had to be closed on a Saturday, there was an SS NCO visor hat that somebody brought in. that they couldn't bring in because we weren't there. So they took it out to our friend Bill Scott. Once I found out about that, I called Bill, who had already sold it, and the hat had already been sold a couple times. I still know where it is, but the guy still has yet to sell it to me.
What is the oddest thing to ever walk into the shop?
Oh.
I think he comes in every Saturday.
Yeah, we have a bunch of them. I mean, we've had some really unusual pieces. We had bought a Native American collection, and in there were some... I don't even know if I can tell you.
Yeah, let's... yeah.
There were some unusual pieces in there.
Not religious things, you know, not like wings or those other things that they use in their dances.
Ceremonials, right, yeah.
Nothing like that. I mean, there was that buffalo spear that was made from a sword on the end of a stick, but there was some odd things. Oh, I know one of the oddest things that came into the shop was those two cavalry lances, those Brazilian cavalry lances, Argentinian, and they're like 9 feet long. It was like, how did you get them?
Right, you gotta wonder. Yeah, that's the thing. Was with some of this stuff, it's like, how did you get this back? You know, it could not have been easy. I'm trying to think of just other odd things. You know, I mean, we've had some machine guns come in, and we told them to go right back out again, because if they're not papered, you know.
Yeah, tell them to search for the paperwork.
Yeah, we can't do anything with it. Okay, the most expensive item that we ever sold.
I don't think the signature, you know, the Nuremberg trial signatures.
Oh, no, but that was cool.
It was a good amount, and it had signatures from pretty much everybody that was executed, plus a whole bunch of other people. You know, that was a good collection. And but there was probably the SS officer's uniform and hat.
Yeah, that was definitely up there.
I know what it was.
What?
It was the Luftwaffe hat or helmet cover.
Oh yeah, we had gotten in a German Fallschirmjäger helmet cover.
The green one.
Or the tan, whatever.
Or tan, whatever.
Yeah, not only a very rare piece, but a very expensive piece.
Yes.
So that was, but you know, a great find, and we found it a great home. That's one of the things we really like to do, is kind of find, you know, the best place for the stuff to be. You know, I don't care if it's a $5 piece or a $500,000 piece. You know, we want to get it to the place where we can make somebody else happy, because that's part of what we do here too.
Yep.
So,
okay.
Apparently, yeah, it's time to be open because we've already got people wandering in the shop. So, I hope you enjoyed this little section of. I don't know. We have to come up with a name for this.
Collector's Corner? I don't know.
See, I have something called Collector's Corner.
Oh yeah.
We need something else.
The
question.
The
Q&A. Q&A with M and J.
Oh yeah.
Is that too lame? Is that what the kids are saying? Time for the Q&A with M and J. Yo. All right. Enough of this foolishness. We got to go. So thanks as always for joining us. Until next time, I'm Jerry.
And I'm Mark.
And we are the Military Collectibles Shop.